Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. Entitled Mom is upset at me for her son misbehaving, P2. I'm not one to do follow-ups, or complain about my life in the first place, but that 1000 upvotes was one of the biggest dopamine boosts I've had all year, so here's part 2. All info of the actual entitled parent can be found in the last 2 paragraphs, and part 1 can be found on my account. Firstly, yes, I did ask for a raise and am currently looking for a new job. It's going to be a bit hard due to most nearby places having much lower wages than what I'm currently at, and I would like the option of walking to work. People just don't understand how practically useful being able to walk to work is. Secondly, they did put me back at the school that I can walk to, with the catch that one of the higher-ups is now placed at my site for the foreseeable future, to be additional eyes. I'm pretty sure they only moved me back because I made it damn well known across 3 different sites what is happening, and had started recording my conversations with the boss. With the mass short staff problem, they won't even think about firing me. The main problems I've been facing from the higher-ups since I was moved back is mostly them messing around with my office. A whistle that I bought with my own money, to get the kids' attention outside or in the gym, was thrown out. A spare movie that I had, that we are allowed to show the kids, vanished. A collection of spare totes that I've been keeping, because spare totes are also very useful, were all turned into the office. And I was told I had to remove one of those magnetic strips that prevent doors from auto-locking, had to be removed. But whatever, I guess. On the things I bought for my site, No was not willing to march in and take them or take my boss to small claims. Most of the things I got were treats and prizes for the kids, toys for the kids, treats for my staff members, minor decorations for my office, which is a tiny old resource room with no windows and 1 outlet. Everything else was fairly cheap, with the most expensive individual thing being a $15 LAN cable, which was mostly in benefit for my elderly TA worker who monitors the front desk. On to Entitled Mom. I was able to find out that for additional sympathy points she claimed that her son was on the spectrum, and claimed that I was also being ableist. There's just a couple problems with that. 1. Nowhere on her son's paperwork for the child care facility, or the school, is it listed that he is on the spectrum. 2. I'm also on the spectrum, and I've never had my bad behavior excused for it, especially not for pushing down disabled children or screaming in the restroom. I also learned that she lives in the very wealthy part of the area that goes to the school, so if she wanted to, she could personally hire a nanny that could give her kids all the treatment and attention they deserve. But fortunately, she hasn't tried anything or said anything or done anything that I am aware of. I've been told to walk on eggshells around the problem kid, which I can't do for a number of very obvious reasons. Like how her son put his hand on another kid's neck and squeezed their nape. Or how he almost started choking, and I was the only staff member there. I was literally 1 second away from doing the Heimlich maneuver before I heard him breath, and had one of the biggest sighs of relief in my entire career. If the mom ever tries anything, I'm going to immediately bring that up and ask what she would have preferred I do. Story 2. My mom tried to get me to move into my grandpa's 1-bedroom home with him. My parents tried to get me to move into my grandpa's 1-bedroom home with him. Let me start by saying I'm married, and have 3 animals, but at the time I had 4. My grandpa, mother's dad, is in the last stages of life, to say the least. He's been up and down on his hemoglobin, multiple bleeds, and he has been in a rehab facility twice in the span of a year. Both my husband and I were CNAs at one point in our lives. My mother asked me if we could move into the living room of my grandpa's home. It has no door. My living room is the size of his home, and I simply wouldn't have anywhere to put anything. I told her no. My husband already shows minimal affection around my family out of respect, that would kill our intimate life. Also, my cat would definitely cause him to fall more than he already does. She lives in a 4-bedroom home. At the time none of her kids lived there, so she had 2 offices and a music room, and the master which her and my dad shared. I told her she had plenty of space to house my grandpa. She didn't want to have to renovate the bathroom tub so he could get into it. After giving her a strong no, she went on a rant about how she would have to sell the home she was born in to put him in a home. And 2 or 3 months later, Grandpa is doing fine and she acts like she never asked me to uproot my life. LOL. Edit. I believe that my mom asked all of us, but I was the last person and still said no. I also go and see him a few times a week to make sure his house is clean, his dishes are done etc, so I am already taking care of him. Story 3. Neighbors on both sides are related and ally. I normally delete post as I don't want anyone to know who I am. At the moment I don't care. Not like that matters, it's paranoia. I have no friends in real life, and my mum likes the sound of her own voice so I'm basically lonely and it fucking hurts. I hope my neighbors see this and realize how entitled they truly are. I don't know when the neighbors started reporting us, probably sometime when I was little, and probably over dog barks, which I'll admit, wasn't that much. Mum knows how to control dogs. I'm 29 now, so that's a long time to be petty and entitled. Although, at one time it was warranted. We had 9 cats and they took 5, I can see how obviously careless that was. That was years ago. I still have cats, only 3 and they're related. We've always had dogs, and so had the neighbors on the right. But they had been without one for a while. When they did get another dog, over 10 years ago now, I think, I thought they'd be a bit more, you know, accepting of dog noise. Their dog barks just as much as our too, and is a staffy, so I can understand especially since they're no for separation anxiety. At first, there was 4 people in their house, Mum, S1, Dad, M, S2, and R. S2 and R are near my age, one's older than me and one's younger. They moved out a long time ago. And M died a few years ago too. I'll say less than 7 years ago the neighbors on our left moved in. The house went through a lot of people. But this family stayed, and, at first were nice. When my mum met the girl next door who is my age, she vented about the people on the opposite side and how they'd been trying to get me and my mum out of the house so her daughter and grandkids could live there. My mum is in her 70s, and the stress of the neighbor had given her mini strokes, something I don't want to happen again. She, tells my mum that she and the neighbor on the left, S1, are related. Oh crap! Hopefully she would be a lot nicer. It came out a while ago that she went to same secondary school as me, the first one I went to and got bullied relentlessly. She didn't bully me, but said she felt sorry for me. Here's something that's a bit weird, and is something I'm questioning immensely. Both sides went on holiday at separate times, and asked my mum to look after the pets. And she did. The animals are much better than the humans. I would go in mum's place to feed S1's dog who is an adorable puppyer indeed. Time with other people's animals are heavenly. Now I'm wondering if S1 was trying to catch R doing something. She and her daughter have been a beacon of entitled parents, no joke. I don't know if it was a secret and got passed around secretly, but S2 had put her oldest, a boy, in a freezer and sat on it for 5 minutes. She's also bad at paying rent. S2 has become suspiciously nicer to us over the last few years, which has made me feel increasingly uncomfortable. I have severe social anxiety, and my mum is, I'll say, very gobby. We got reported earlier this year, I can't remember why. C also reported us, but my mum asked her to over a tree mum wanted to get rid of. But was it only one tree that she reported us for? No, it was all of them, and said that my mum was elderly and couldn't cope with the upkeep of the front and back garden. I am here, capable, and can help when needed. I do the house most of the time and try not to complain. I'm an realist, and my mum is a pessimist. Also, we have chickens and ducks, they both benefit from this and get free eggs from my mum. Recently, we overheard S1 complained about the chickens being close to her house. They're in our garden. How can I stop these neighbors from getting to me? Story 4. I'm a severe germaphobe and I just saw a dad let his child pee right in a parking space at my favorite Target location. I'm a germaphobe, and today after going to a therapy germaphobe session, coincidentally, I did a quick walk into my local Target to grab some stuff. Then when I was leaving I saw a dad in the parking lot put his son's pants down in the parking lot and his son peed. And not just a little, it was a huge puddle, and the urine was splashing everywhere. It was like someone pouring out an entire jug of apple juice onto the street. The dad looked both ways then said time to go, picked up his kid and placed him in the back seat. The kid literally peed in front of the back right passenger door right on the guest path where one would get in and out of their car. Absolutely disgusting, and I'm so scared to even go back to this Target. I was even gonna apply for a job here and everything, but as a germaphobe I fear that the next driver who parks there and gets out of their car will step over the pee and spread the germs throughout the store and parking lot. Sad face. Story 5. A rant about my mom and my dogs. I've had a few other posts on here about my mom and my dogs and, to no one's surprise, nothing has changed. My mom acts very weirdly toward my dogs. Sometimes she loves them and other times she acts borderline abusive towards them. She picks favorites and she mostly treats my 1-year-old Shih Tzu/Poodle mix like it's her baby. She even treats her better than me sometimes and don't get me started about how she treats my other dog. To her, my other dog, an 11-year-old mutt, might as well not even exist. She gives my Shih Tzu constant praise and lets her do pretty much anything, treating her like she can do no wrong. This has led to a lot of things around the house being chewed or peed on while she is supposed to be watching them when me and my dad are at work. Then says it's my fault because of one reason or another. She changes the reason every time. When me or my dad tries to scold the dog, my mom always gets mad at us and tells us, usually me, to stop being mean to her. I try to explain that if we don't scold the dog then she's never gonna learn, which is usually met with some weird response like I just don't know what I'm talking about. Once I asked my mom to scold the dog after she chewed on something just to see what she would do and my mom first told me to do it then, when I made up an excuse of why I couldn't, she scolded the dog by putting on her baby voice and, while petting her, and made a joke about it all. Along with that, my mom buys my Shih Tzu treats and toys that only she can use knowing full well that my mutt can't use them because she doesn't have teeth. When I bring it up to her she just tells me, she always eats them when I give them to her. This makes me feel even worse because what happens if my mutt chokes because well she's done it before. Then when I told her to not give those types of treats to my mutt she tries to guilt me by saying that it was unfair. I would rather her not buy them treats at all. And I've told her as much, but even after I've told her to stop she just does it anyways and doesn't even acknowledge that I said anything. We will be mid-conversation and I'll ask her nicely to stop buying the dog's treats because the vet said that they were overweight and she just stops talking and walks away like we were never talking in the first place. She does this all the time and it's gotten to the point where I have to monitor her like a child to make sure she hasn't bought them any new treats. Because of this, she has now resorted to buying dog treats behind my back. A few days back my family went to a strip mall. I needed craft supplies so I went to Michael's and my parents went to TJ Maxx. I got my stuff and met them outside where I saw my mom holding a bag, but I didn't think much about it until the next morning when I went to let the dogs outside and I noticed that she bought a bag of dog bones that were way too big for my 15-pound dogs. I was pissed so I took them and hid them in my room so she can't give them to the dogs anymore. I'm planning on sending them to one of my friends that have appropriately sized dogs. But that's just actual dog food. My mom will also give them, mostly the Shih Tzu, random pieces of whatever she's eating at the time. She's given them bread, pork/beef bones, pork rinds, pieces of waffle, fried chicken skin, small pieces of sugar donuts, and French toast sticks. That's just the stuff I know about. I know that she's probably given them tons more stuff I'm not aware of. She does it right in front of me too. When she thinks I'm not watching she'll slip the dog little scraps. When I tell her to stop doing it, she starts guilting me again by looking sadly at the dogs and saying, "Oh sorry, name won't let you have any." This is where borderline animal abuse comes in. Besides me telling her that she might be poisoning my dogs, she just does it anyway, and sometimes she goes as far as to say that she wants them to die so she won't have to take care of them anymore, even though I'm the one taking care of them. Along with that, she just lets them run away. We don't have a fence in our backyard, so they can just run off real easy if you're not watching them while they're outside. It will be dead at night and we're all about to go to bed, she'll let the dogs out without telling me and then go do something else. When she comes back to the door, they're long gone. She used to call me from wherever I was when that happened so I could go find them, but now she just doesn't tell me. She lets them do whatever in the middle of the night, in the middle of small town Nebraska, and all she can tell me is, "Oh, they'll come back." No matter how much I tell her that it doesn't matter if they come back, I don't want her to let them run away, she just does the not listen thing again and nothing gets learned. We have arguments over this shit. I don't know what's so hard to understand about not letting the dogs run away, day or night, it doesn't matter. It's dangerous for two little dogs to be running around in a place like this. Sure, they have tags, but them getting lost isn't what I worried about. We have hawks and foxes around here, and even besides the wildlife, what about fucking cars? It's like I'm talking to a brick wall sometimes, and the best thing she can give me is, "Well, they'll come back." Sometimes, if she's feeling extra bitchy, she tells me that she hopes they do get lost or hopes someone else will take them so she doesn't have to deal with them anymore. She actively jokes about one or both of them dying. When she's not scoffing and turning her attention away from me asking to just not kill my dogs, she jokes about how it would be better if she did. I just don't how to get through to her or if I can at all, frankly. I want to yell at her sometimes, but even when I ask her nicely I can see in her eyes sometimes that she wants to yell at me for disrespecting her. She takes every little bit of advice as disrespect, and I've had her blow up on me a few times about issues with the dogs when I've tried to explain what she did wrong and how I don't want her to do it again. She has threatened to hit me a few times before and said I'm lucky to be disabled, I have severe back problems, or else she would have just done it already. Talking to her about these dogs, about anything tbh, is like walking on thin ice. With every word, I get one step closer to falling through, and I'm the only one who seems to get that, as my dad always sides with my mom. Sorry for the long post, I just feel like I'm losing it. I love my dogs a lot. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.